My name is Toby Potter. This is my daughter, Taylor Potter. We lived here in the McKinney area now for 19 years and have been coming to Cottonwood Creek for about 17 years. One of the great pleasures that we had this year was that Taylor and I went on the Dominican Republic mission trip last year, and after coming back, seeing how enthralled and excited and overwhelming it was for her and the life-changing experience, we decided that this year, 2013, that my wife and my other daughter, Amber Potter, would join us, and they also brought some friends with them. And we really had an experience like no other with the group, with the people, going back to the villages that we'd gone to in 2012, seeing those kids, them remembering us was phenomenal. It was an experience that was just unheard of. This year we went and did a lot of food baskets. We did the rice and the seeds and all that in several villages. We were with a group that went in to 3 different churches and was able to share the message, share the gospel, and just get to know the people in those villages. One of the things that we were able to do in 2013 was go back to one of the rehab centers that we had visited in 2012. And again, it seems like every time we go back into those environments that there is such a huge presence of God and of a desire to change. And to be able to sit down there and listen to those individuals who had gone through very, very deep impacts in their lives, negative impacts, but yet were striving to make a difference and change their lives for the better, all on their own. Nobody was making them, and they were there because they knew they had messed up and they wanted more out of life. And to go back year after year and see that was just amazing. The growth, the expansion of the rehab center. The same thing with the different churches that we went into. The love of the people was overwhelming. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. While he did all the labor and the hard work, I got a chance to meet all the little kids and play with them, and we got to go back to 2 different places we went to last year, and it was really neat having them remember you and even remember your name and stuff. Last year we went to a village while the men were helping build a house. I got to play with the kids, and we saw a lady that was pregnant, but she was very sad. And so a couple of us went over there and kind of talked to her. And we figured out, she's pregnant, but that her baby was really weak, and she had just gotten back from the doctor, and they said that the baby probably wasn't going to live. So we all kind of put our hands on her belly and started praying. And one of the ladies that had her hands on the babies, or on the belly, the baby started to kick, and it was like a really neat thing for us to feel. And a few days later, we found out that she had a healthy little girl and that the baby was fine. And then this year we came back and went back to that village, and we saw the lady and we met the baby, and it was a really cool experience.
I think that was probably one of the biggest highlights, was to hear that lady had been told that her baby probably wasn't going to make it, that there was a very, very weak heartbeat, that the doctors had pretty much confirmed that the baby wasn't going to make it. And when our group came in and laid hands on her and prayed, not for the salvation of the baby, but just to give the mother strength, encouragement, and for God to be with her and all that, and then to see God work in her life and deliver that baby to a healthy baby girl, no complications, no issues, was a true testament not only to our group, but to the village. When we went back this year, the village was just ecstatic that we had come back. The people were overwhelmed, and each village we went to, you saw a deeper love for individuals than you could ever imagine. These people who have absolutely nothing but love for each other and love for life. It was unreal. We, Ryan and John and a few of us was able to help a young lady put a new roof on her house. And Ryan Ross is an amazing individual, but putting a hammer in his hands is just not safe for anybody in the environment. Being able to work hand in hand with those guys last year and this year, building these houses, the relationship and the respect, to see that their tools are limited and their resources are limited, but yet they still put 100% of pride in everything they do. It was overwhelming to see that each and every time. I think the biggest thing that has impacted our lives is to truly submit ourselves. We get so tied up in our everyday schedules, our everyday lives, our everyday hectic or chaotic events that we lose sight of what is really precious to all of us. And we lose sight of what God is doing in the good for our lives, whether we, have great wealth, great prosperity, great health, all that. I think what really hits me personally each and every time is when we come back from these trips and we realize, you know what? I have so much to offer those people and my own neighbors. And that's the biggest impact is it gets us grounded back to what God is really doing in our lives on a smaller scale. And I think that's what really builds my passion to go back and do more each and every year, or even doing stuff here locally, because we have so much that God has granted us with and gifted us with, and yet I don't think that we give a tenth of it back. I look at my own life and realize that, there's so much more I can do, whether it's here in my own neighborhood, my own community, or overseas. That's the biggest thing that I get from this each and every year.
You really see that whenever you're in Dominican, that these people are so happy just to be alive, and then you come back and you see that most people just aren't grateful for what they have. And these people in Dominican barely, are able to provide for themselves, much less their families. And it's really, it's actually like a lot, neater to see that they don't really care that their house is small or that they don't have nice clothes. And then you come back and you see that people are upset that they don't have, the biggest house or the nicest cars. And so God kind of showed me that I need to be thankful for what I do have and not upset at what I don't have.
I would say that if it wasn't for the church, we would not be embedded into this cause the way we are. We've been a part of Cottonwood for the last 17 years. John, Mark, Ryan, Beta Bach, those leaders that we rub elbows with day in and day out are a huge support. Friends, Christian leaders, and because of that, it creates a passion or a drive for us to want to do more to give back. So I would say that the Cottonwood, Ryan Ross, Terry Seagrave, those people are a huge support factor. They're very passionate about the missions and very caring about the people that support that and go into that, and they do put together a great program. They are very supportive of our needs. And a perfect example, when this came up this year, we were going to have to cancel because of a wedding that my nephew was having on July 20th. And the mission group wasn't going to get back until the evening of the 20th. And we told Ryan and Terry, hey, we're going to have to cancel this year because of this wedding. I can't get my nephew to change that date, and I really wouldn't want him to. But because of Ryan and Terry and their desire for us to continue being a part of this group, they went in and made special arrangements for us to fly back a day early so that we could be in Oklahoma City for the wedding. And that just speaks volumes of the leadership and of the true passion that they have to make accommodations for people like us that really want to be a part of these mission trips and do all that we can do for the trip and for the people and for the community.
So last year I went by myself with just me and my dad, and last year I told my friends all about it, and they were so excited for me and happy, and they just wanted to get involved and go on missions. And so this year I decided to take them, and I took 2 of my closest friends, and they aren't members at the church, and Ryan, Ross, and Terry, and all of the adult leaders. They were so excited for me to bring my friends to show them everything I had learned last year. And it was really cool that when we were there, they got treated like that they've been known for forever, and that they're a part of this church even though they don't go here. I encourage everyone, starting even younger than I am, to get out and do as much missions as you can, because going to different countries, it really shows you how little people have and how thankful they are and how much they love God. And even there was a kid that was
11 or
12 or 13. He went on the trip and he had probably the most amazing experience he's ever had.
And I will say that my youngest daughter, Amber, this child is not one to be out in the heat, to do a lot of extra work. And yet, when we were there, she couldn't get enough of it. Here was a 14-year-old girl who'd never been on a mission trip that was very upset because we had a free day and just didn't understand. In fact, her statement to me was, "Why are we having a free day? We didn't come here to have a free day. We need to be out visiting with the kids." That was so overwhelming to see how this trip has made a difference in my kids' lives. And this is what it was all about for me, was to get them to understand the gifts and the glory and all that God has given to us and how they can return that. I deeply encourage anybody that has young children, if you have the ability to go out and do a mission trip with your kids, with your family, I assure you, you'll have no regrets. What it's done for me and my family, I can't explain, and I can't put it into words. I can just tell you that it was the absolute best thing that I could ever do for my family and for Taylor and for Amber, to let them see how God works in people's lives and how God uses us to make a difference in people's lives on a daily basis.